Welcome to the episode of Jay Leno's Garage. You know, we've been talking an awful lot lately about new technology, and that's what this car is all about. It appears to be a completely stock 2016 350R Mustang, one of my all-time favorite cars. I've got one myself, but this one has a huge difference. If you get in close, you can see the entire car is made of carbon fiber. Well, not the chassis, but all the body panels, saving, well, more than a few hundred pounds. Give me an idea how light that is. Walker, hand me that. Here's the fender, okay? 1.8 pound. That's the front fender. Now the whole car is this. Now the roof, this piece, this panel here, normally about 20 pounds, a little less than 4 pounds. And the whole car, the hood, everything, making this, well, increasing your power to weight ratio pretty good. I guess it's like adding another 50 or 60 horsepower maybe, I don't know, something like that. But I mean, this is like a piece of typewriter paper. Look at this. Well, let's meet the men responsible for this thing, or the men and women responsible for this thing. Sorry, don't sue me. Okay, David, come on in. David Salvaggio, right?
Yep. Hey, Jay.
Okay. SpeedKore is the corporation. Let me hand this back. Thank you. Pretty amazing. I mean, whenever I think of carbon fiber, I think Lamborghini, Ferrari, McLaren, and the fact that you guys are doing it for Mustang, Camaro, Challenger, American-made stuff. Why aren't the original equipment manufacturers doing this? It seems like the greatest way to save weight.
I think they're on their way to be there.
Yeah.
Right now it's a cost game, if it makes sense. So they're going to be there, and I believe between 2023, 2025, about half of the parts on the car will be carbon fiber.
Now, if you were to go buy a brand new steel fender for a Mustang, unpainted, what would it cost you?
Call it $300-400 probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one of these carbon fiber fenders is how much?
I think we're getting about $800.
Okay, this is about twice as much.
Twice as
so
much.
Price-wise, it's not there yet.
Correct.
But I see it coming down. I mean, these wheels are a classic example. I've talked about this on the show before. A number of years ago, we had a company from Australia named Carbon Revolution.
Yes.
And they came with these wheels, and they were trying to sell them Lamborghini, Porsche, whatever. The wheels are $20,000 a piece. And I thought, well, that's a little crazy, but incredibly light, one finger, you know, the whole deal. Then they said, we're working with the original equipment manufacturer, we can't say who it is. 3 or 4 years later, they're on a Ford Mustang. I mean, originally, those 4 wheels cost 20 grand more than this car.
Yep.
Now they're on this car. So manufacturing techniques means it just keeps coming down and down, doesn't it?
Yeah, and it's on its way. So basically, same with the wheels. It's like plasma TVs. You know, out of the box they were 10 grand. Now you can get them for $800.
Right.
Same scenario.
And it's, I mean, the panel gap, all of this looks completely stock, if not even better. I mean, it's pretty amazing. Can you do better tolerances with carbon fiber than you could with steel, do you think?
You can, and when we make the molds, you can change all that in CAD.
Right.
So then when we make the molds, CNC them out, we can change all the data to editing tolerance we want. So,
yeah, I mean, this really is fascinating to me. And plus, if you wanted to, you could paint this so you didn't see the carbon fiber weave.
Yeah,
but
Ferrari does it, Corvette does it, yeah.
But you guys do it just to show how good the weave is, I guess, right? You clear coat it?
Yeah, we have some great artisans that lay this up, and they get the direction all perfect, and you can see the flow from the fender going to the hood. Everything matches, and the guys are really great.
And it's almost done on a loom type deal, isn't it? I mean, you make carbon fiber.
Yeah.
It used to be in the old days.
Yeah, so basically we get it in pre-preg, and that's what aerospace uses, and it comes frozen to us. So we put it in a mold and then get the directional of the weave there. So pre-preg is the perfect mix of epoxy and carbon fiber, and it's 60-40. Okay. And that's how you get it the strongest.
So I imagine it's not inexpensive to convert this whole car to a carbon fiber car.
Yeah, we get about 70 grand, call it, to convert the exterior.
Right. And you save about what, 400 to 600 pounds?
We did a Hellcat for SEMA this year, and we saved 680 pounds total, but we also changed the brakes to carbon ceramic, eliminated the rear seat, and then that was a giant weight savings because that's a 4,400-pound car originally.
So you turn a Hellcat into a demon, just about.
Yeah, something
pretty
like
much.
that.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. Pretty amazing. And the car, everything else about the car is stock, isn't it?
Yeah. He wanted to go for the aesthetics of it, and carbon fiber. I mean, it's the future, but it's the present. So if you look back at history, a lot of things that were technical turned into style. So magnesium turned into mags,
Yeah.
aluminum bodies turned into aluminum treatments and body. Now carbon, weight savings, turns into aesthetics, and then we use that as a styling hue.
Any electrical grounding problems with carbon fiber? Because I know on a lot of the modern carbon fiber supercars, you can't get AM signals anymore, and they say, oh, well, nobody listens to AM. Well, I listen to news and stuff, and it's usually because you can't get a good ground.
Yeah, this we haven't had anything.
But
But
it still has steel chassis.
correct.
Right,
Yep.
okay,
So we're okay on that. But it's interesting that you mentioned acoustics, because having a carbon fiber body, the acoustics of the car make the car actually quieter. So it's almost like the tensile strength and the carbon itself is above our ear tone, and it makes the car quieter. So when you drive it later, you'll see that it's going to be quieter than your
That's interesting.
GT350R now.
I thought it would be noisier. I thought
Yeah.
some carbon fiber cars I've driven, there's a resonance that seems to come through the chassis, but maybe that's because there's no sound deadening.
That could be part of it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
And also, when we bond the panels on, so like the quarter panel, the steel one came off, so we put on the carbon fiber one, we're using a 3M panel bond adhesive. So now every joint around everything is bonded, so you're
Right.
actually making it stronger than would it be welded with a steel product.
And when you have an accident or a fender bender, or I guess you don't have a bender anymore, do you? You have a fender cracker. I
That's
mean,
right.
it just sort of, you just have to replace the fender.
It's
Can
better
you-
to
can-
replace
You
it.
can't really repair carbon fiber.
You can, as long as it's painted, but you got to use like materials. So body shops, I don't think
Like
are
a
advanced
resin of
yet.
some kind?
You still want to use carbon fiber. You want to back it, and then
Yeah.
you want to V it out, and there's a whole process to drag it out, so the fibers, you don't have ghost lines. But you can repair it, and I think the collision industry will be there as the OEMs go more and more into carbon fiber.
And how long does it take, obviously, to stamp a fender? There's your fender, pretty much stamping. Carbon fiber takes a bit longer?
No, it's faster.
Oh, it is?
I mean, not faster than the punch, but by
Right.
the time you get the process, you do 4 layers on this fender. That's what we have. You can do that in about 2 hours. Goes into an autoclave, and then that's the time it takes to cure.
Right, right.
So,
Because I know when my McLaren F1, when that came out in the early 90s, it was something like 2,000 hours to make the carbon fiber tub. Now it's an hour and a half to do the P1.
Wow, that's amazing.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it showed you how quickly things happen. I mean, it really looks good. I'm astounded. It's amazing. I love the look of it.
yeah, and just give you a heads up on the process. So when we autoclave the parts, everything we do, we use pre-preg, and then we autoclave it. So it
Okay.
goes into a, I don't know if you're familiar with an autoclave, but it's
And
like
all like a giant oven, essentially.
it is, but it adds pressure.
Right,
So we cook our stuff at about 180, 210.
Right.
And then we add 80 pounds per square inch. So I'll give you an example on the hood. Hood's like maybe 50 by 60 inches.
Right.
So we're putting just over 200,000 pounds of pressure
Wow.
on the hood, 80 pounds per square inch, and then that makes the hood. So we make an A side and a B side, and then that gives us its strength as well.
Like Kentucky Fried Chicken, you have the big pressure cooker
right.
thing, and you make, yeah.
The Colonel knows best.
Yeah, yeah, and you get your extra crispy. Yeah, cool. Well, very nice. Well, and this is probably what you said, another 70 grand over the cost of the Mustang.
Yeah. So
Okay. But if someone had a Mustang, they could buy this piece here.
exactly.
This carbon fiber piece.
A lot of guys buy splitters, spoilers, diffusers, and the rockers, and like you said, the mirror panels.
And for center of gravity, I suppose doing the roof would make sense, wouldn't it?
oh yeah,
Keep
it
the
all
weight-
changes.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it's a great pony car already. Making it lighter just makes it better.
Have you done any early Mustangs, like 65s? That seems like that would be fun.
We have not yet. We've done a CUDA 1970, the
Right.
Tantrum from last year's
Sure,
show.
sure, right.
And then we're working on a full carbon fiber 1970 Charger as well with aluminum frame and body work. So it's going to be exciting because everything that we're doing now really revolves around carbon fiber. So.
Can we open the hood? I just like to feel
Yeah,
how
sure.
light
Yeah.
the hood is.
So you got an A side and a B side.
Yeah.
So if you buy carbon fiber, always make sure that they have a finished bottom, because
Right.
sometimes it's just the A side, and then the bottom side will be hairy like carbon fiber weave.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, well, I
So-
see. Well, it's
Yeah.
nicely done. I mean, it's a lot light.
Yeah, it's amazing, yeah. So like the front bumper, for example, on your stock GT350R.
Look how light it is. If it has a steel hood, it would have just slammed shut. I mean, okay. There you go. Yeah.
So we made a one-piece front bumper, which eliminated a lot of parts and weight. So we inducted these pieces directly into the main piece, so then you get one solid. and then that makes it lighter and then more serviceable. So.
Yeah, I know on my 350, I've torn the splitter twice, just going around Willow Springs and stuff. So putting one of these on, that makes perfect sense. What do you have here?
So here's some carbon fiber examples. So these are two different twill patterns, and this is dry carbon that we might use to back it up or strengthen it.
Right.
So, because we're getting 70% lighter than steel and 40% lighter than aluminum with the carbon fiber. So that's a backing, and then this is pre-preg. So normally this is frozen, and they use it.
Frozen as in temperature frozen?
Yeah, so when you get it, it's got to be frozen and always has to be kept that way, and it comes in long rolls. So you can see the resin content in it and see how it's sticky.
And what happens once it thaws out? Well, you can catch flies too.
Yeah.
What happens when it thaws out?
So when you put it in the mold, you shape it, and then it goes right to the autoclave, and that's when we're cooking 180, 210.
Okay.
Yep, and then when it's against the mold, you might do 4 layers like we did on the fender, and then it's part of the cure process.
And
so,
carbon fiber is, what is it, like it's like a metal thread, isn't it?
It's, yeah, so basically there's a process that turns it into pure carbon atoms, but when we see this strand here, we're not actually seeing a carbon fiber, we're seeing 12,000 carbon fibers that are smaller than a human hair that make up one strand of the carbon fiber. So when you just see that little guy there, that's 12,000 strands. So when you add the perfect amount of epoxy with that carbon, it gives us its strength, and that's why it can be stronger than steel, which is relative to the shape and the part, of course.
The size of a human hair.
Yeah, well, if you have hair, yeah.
I'm trying. Yeah, it's a bad example.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. But no, that's pretty, because a lot of people don't, including me, really don't understand what carbon fiber. You always think of it as this, but it's really, it's a weave. I mean, you can.
Yeah, made out of pure carbon. Yeah,
and these you can actually see through it. Well, light comes through, doesn't it?
Yeah, so you back it up, and then when you have 4 layers, and then it's cooked and pressurized, basically the resin then is loose in there, and it takes form of the mold that you're putting it into.
Does each manufacturer like yourself have their own sort of, quote, cooking secret? I mean, in terms of or is all carbon fiber pretty much made the same? Are you guys able to make a stronger, better, you know what I mean? Is it 450 degrees and press bake, or how does it work?
Yeah, there's different types of pre-preg, so different cycles, different pressures, different times. Basically, we have a group of artisans that lay it up, so that's one part of our secret sauce, but the other one is the material, and then what you do with the material and how you handle it.
I guess what I'm saying is you want to be careful for people making bad carbon fiber. If something is carbon fiber and is extremely cheap, at this point you need to be suspicious, is what I'm saying.
If it's cheap, it's not real.
That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of carbon fiber look. It's like during the Jewish holidays, kosher style food. You know, wait a minute, it's not really, you know what I mean? It's that same kind of deal. Because I've seen things advertised, carbon fiber wing for your, what? $80? How could, you know, that doesn't seem possible.
Made in China.
That's what I mean. So you want to go for the real thing.
Yeah. And if it's you know, if it's expensive, there's a reason why it's expensive.
Right.
So you're always buying the better.
Cool. Well, this is one of my favorite cars to drive. You know, this. I always feel sorry for people who bought the last generation Mustang before this flat plane crank model came out, because this to me is the greatest American motor since the small block Chevy.
It's just amazing power.
Fantastic power plant, twin cam, 4 valves, flat plane crank. It's basically a Ferrari engine in a Mustang, which seems almost ridiculous, but that's what it is. And it's just the greatest car to drive. So at 400 to 600 pounds lighter, I'm anxious to see what the difference is. Can we take it for a spin?
Love to.
Does feel light on its feet. Kind of like if you go to Weight Watchers and you lose 20 pounds and you go dancing. Oh, you're not a better dancer, you just feel better about it. Does feel light on its feet. It's funny, if you added 600 pounds, I would feel it right away. If you take 600 pounds away, It does feel lighter, but I'm not, you know, I can't make the connection as quickly, you know what I mean?
Yep.
What
So
a-
the future is,
Yeah.
you can't make cars more economical, or I'm sorry, you can't make the emissions better, so you have to make them lighter.
Right, right.
So what is, you know, a lot of guys are changing the compression to 13:1 to burn more
Right.
emissions. So future, they have to go lighter to meet the CAFE standards.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, when Henry Ford built his cars, they're pretty light and spindly. And he used to take a lot of grief for it. And he always used to say, you ever seen a fat man outrun a skinny man? No.
That's a good one.
It does feel lighter. Maybe it's psychological, but it does. Seems to pull quicker in fourth.
How do you feel about the acoustics? It's pretty tight, huh? I mean,
It
no
is very
squeaking,
tight,
no
yeah.
rattling, nothing like that.
Well, very cool. The 350R is one of my favorite cars of all time. And now it's like between 400 and 600 pounds lighter. You really feel the difference on the highway. I couldn't tell so much in bumper-to-bumper traffic, obviously. Once you get on the road, especially in third gear, it just seems to gather speed quicker. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously it's expensive, it's kind of cool, but yeah, you could do it a piece at a time, you know. You crumple that fender, you put a carbon fiber on, crumple the other one, put another carbon, you know, buy one at a time. I mean, the fender weighs 1.8 pounds. It's less than 2 pounds for a whole fender. That's pretty cool. So, guys, thank you very much.
Hey, thanks for having me.
God,
it's great.
It's fun to see the future before it happens, and this is the way it's all going. So, very cool. See you guys next week.
Mm-hmm.